All right. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Um, Welcome to our should be our third official virtual meeting. I'm glad to see everybody here right now. But let's look through the everybody that's on the meeting right now. Okay, so I see quite a lot of AI tools, autopilots, and the note takers. That's fine. I also see as well. Okay, Fidel is here. Fidel, welcome. See as well, Deborah is here as well. Welcome. All right, so welcome to the meeting. We'll start very shortly. Let's wait for quite a number of people to join as well. Hope you did all have a great weekend. You're enjoying your holidays as well, and you're also enjoying the program most importantly. And just as a reminder, as I just dropped on the Slack general page just this morning, that we will be continuing from where we stopped. So if you have your PCs, please make sure to open up Revit as we follow along, and we're going to be having a more um, productive engagement today. All right, so welcome again. The next 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I believe, we would start off officially. In the meantime, if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to address them just before the meeting starts. All right, so we had few people join us while we waited. So we have Wasike's around. Welcome to the meeting. Good morning. We also see Rosa's around as well. Welcome to the meeting. Hope you all had a great weekend. And we're going to be continuing from where we stopped. So just like I mentioned earlier, if you have your Revit project file on your PC, open it up. So we'll be continuing from where we stopped. Also, as well, if you have any questions just before the meeting starts, I'll be glad to address them. Hope you've also been enjoying the program. Okay, probably should always get a vibe check on that just before we start. So um, let me see. If you have any, or rather if you've been enjoying the program thus far, let me know. Likewise as well, if you faced any challenges that you would like me to address, also feel free to send it into the chat box. Okay. All right. So welcome again. We'll start shortly, probably in the next 2 minutes mark, as you can see on the timer. So I'll be glad to know if you've been enjoying the program so far. All right. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. Seeing some comments in the chat box. Okay. So Deborah says she's enjoying the program. Really glad to hear that as well. Razal says she's enjoying the program also. Well, glad to hear that. Okay. So let me just take some time to reply that as well. See that Monet's just joined the meeting as well. Monet, welcome. Good morning. All right. Let me quickly send that in. I always like to press, put an emoji there. Okay, great. All right. So if you are enjoying the program, just let me know in the chat box. Also, like as well, if you run into any challenges you like me to address it, feel free to also let me know. Okay. All right. Also, I do acknowledge quite we have a number of people who haven't set up their PC who have Revit installed. So I've actually acknowledged that and I've given those persons grace. Okay. Likewise as well, it is very essential that we fill our logbooks, and that is a clear indication of the fact that we're following through the program, because it's a very major criteria as well as the project for certification at the end. So as much as possible, please try as much to follow along. And then if you are having any challenges with software or PC issues, just let me know and keep updating me so we'll know how to accommodate best for you. This meeting especially, we're going to be having a product today, so it's just like I said, any of you that have actually been interested in creating drawings for the first time, we're going to be doing it at the end of the meeting. So a combination of what we've done so far. All right. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping into Revit, and I have my screen on the side, so my second screen on the side. So if you have any questions, just as always, let me know. So let me stop sharing this. Okay, rather I'm sharing my full screen. So all right, so I'll be saying you could just respond with probably an emoji. So if you are seeing my screen and you have your Revit loaded up, just give me a thumbs up. All right, great. Thank you, Vivian. You can see that. Okay, Deborah's giving a thumbs up as well. All right, thank you, everybody. I'm seeing for Wasiki. I'm seeing for Razal. Thank you. All right, good. So, once I open up my Revit model, um, you would notice that depending on how we saved it, we're going to be on the last view that we saw, right? Now, this is very important. If in the event that you've moved your Revit project file, your structural project file to be more precise, to another place on your computer, you may notice that you won't see your architectural file again. Now, there isn't anything to worry about. It's just that Revit has lost directions of where you actually stored it. So how you could rectify this is that you go over here to the project browser. I talked about this in the last meeting, and under here you see Revit links. Okay, on this Revit links here, I'm going to click on this plus icon to expand it. I'm going to scroll down a bit, and you're going to see here the architectural model here. You can see right now that it has lost this directory, so we're going to fix that. So what I can do is that I can either right click on the Revit model, and you see this option here, reload from. Okay, another thing I could do as well is that I can click on Revit links, right click, and then you see the option here to manage links. So this one I'll see a more detailed sorry, I'll say a more detailed explanation of exactly what is going on. So right now the status is not found. So the reason is because I actually moved this file, and you see the name. If I expand this a bit, I can see the full name of the model. Let me expand this a little bit better so we have an understanding. Status is not found. The reference, you don't need to worry about this. And this was the original saved part. So what I do to reload it is I go over here and click on the model like this. You have to make sure that you are in the Revit tab over here, and then you see the option here to reload from. Now if it's just a case of the model is still in the same part, all you need to do is just click on reload. I'm going to click on reload from, assuming that I changed the parts. So when I click on reload from, it's going to open up my Windows File Explorer dialog box, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to search for it. Now if I remember correctly, that should be on my Google Drive. Have quite meticulous saved project folder. So let's see if we find it. So for you it may be different, so it won't be obviously these parts as we see. Let me see. Okay, so I see it should fall under yes. Alright, good. So I saved it here. Alright, so this is where I find mine. Oh, sorry about that, not here actually. Alright, so that's the materials folder I actually shared with everybody. So shopping plaza projects, architectural. Alright, good. So I have to make sure that I pick the one that is not a backup file. So I'm going to expand this and see. Okay, so I have different versions. I am using Revit 2024 by the way. So I'm going to pick the 2021 and 2024 version and click open. And it's going to take some time to reload. Alright, good. So you're going to notice something here. The status here changes to loaded, and then you can as well see at the bottom where we have the Revit links that the object is now loaded back into the project. Now if I click OK, you will now see that we have it back on display. Pretty neat, right? Alright. Okay, so what else before I go ahead? I did promise that I was going to show everyone how to link their Google Drive. I had a comments from those that actually went ahead to download it. So for instance, if you wanted to link your Google Drive, or rather the project folder, to your Google Drive, here's how you go about it. So let me just go and load this. I think I have my Google Windows here. Alright, so let me drag it from my other screen here. Alright, so let's assume here this is your Google Drive, right, on your desktop by the way. Alright, so you've opened your Google Drive on your desktop. So by default, it's going to be showing you home. So what you want to do is you want to go to shared with me. Alright, shared with me. When you go to shared with me, because I shared the folder with everybody, you would see the name of your student folder over there, right? you'll see the name of your students folder. So I'm going to assume, what can I assume to be my students folder now? Don't have a folder here. Okay, right, don't worry. Let's assume let's assume this is the students folder, for instance. Okay, so all you need to do is that you come over here and then click on the three dots icon, or you right click on it, and then you're going to see an option here called organize, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on add shortcuts, and I'm going to add that shortcut to my drive. So I come to all locations, I click on my drive, and then I just click on add. Or if you wanted to specify it, if you have an organized drive folder, you can go ahead and then search which folder you actually want to put it in. So if you have a documents folder, you already have a dedicated design workshop folder, you can search for it. But I'm just going to put it in my drive and show you how it works. So when I click on add, you see an indication that it has been added to my drive. Now if I come back here to my drive from here, I'm going to see it somewhere around here. That should let me scroll down, should see it somewhere here. It's somewhere around here actually, but let me come here back to share it with me. I have forgot the name of the folder. So yeah, so this is it's a Jamboard folder. So that is Danstruct with a 6KU Jamboard folder. Should be here, and just scroll down. Alright, so I should see it one way or the other. Alright, so it's somewhere around there actually, so let's not worry about that. Now if you've done that correctly, you put it to my drive, right? All you need to do now is that if you have drive for desktop installed, let me just come into, let me see, I think I have my drive folder open. Alright, so I have my drive folder open. So if you've installed drive for desktop, you're going to see it over here like this. All you need to do is open it up, then open my drive, and you'll be able to see that file that you shared over here. So if I scroll down, or mostly it's going to be a folder in that case. If I scroll down, I'll be able to find it here. All you need to do is just refresh, and that will be available inside this particular my drive folder. Like as well, anytime you are syncing a file from your computer to your drive, you can click on this option in the taskbar here, and then you see this option here for Google Drive. So if objects are syncing, you'll be able to see it from here. So just like that, you would be able to access the folder. So this is an example of a shortcut that I sent that was shared with me. If I go ahead and double click and open it up, I'll be able to access it even though it is not my own drive folder. Okay, I hope that was clear, and if anybody is using that method, you can do that. Now if you do not have drive for desktop, there's no problem. You can just continue to go ahead and use Google Drive for desktop just like this. But that will mean you would always have to re-upload it back to your folder that is inside shared with me in that case. Alright, great. So now that I've been able to establish that, let's go ahead and continue with the training. So as always, I would also try my best to take what they call it, a 30 minutes break, so everybody can have a little bit of breather before we continue on. Alright, so now let's go to where we stopped. Where we ideally stopped is that we went ahead and modeled the columns, right? We went ahead and modeled the columns or the ground floor going to the first floor. We can visibly see that in the 3D view. Now let's go and continue from where we stopped. Okay, sorry, I have someone joining. Let me quickly admit him. So what I do is that I come to the project browser here, and we have 3 structural plans that we created earlier on. So what I do is that I come over here and open up the ground floor plan, and we have this view here showing us the position of the columns. Okay, so in case anybody missed that, by the way, if you've been able to do this, just let me know in the chat box just by raising your hand or just giving a thumbs up. If you're able to get up to this point, just let me know by giving a thumbs up. All right, great, awesome. Alright, now we are going to go ahead and model the suspended floor beams. Now, if you remember from our first meeting talking about the way building design is done for the general arrangement stage, is that we have different kinds of systems. For instance, we have the flat slab system, we have the solid slab systems, then we have more complex systems such as the ribbed and waffle slab. For this building structure, we are going to be opting for the solid slab system. The solid slab system is where the loads from the slabs are transferred to beams, and then the loads from the beams are now sent to the columns. So right now we have columns, but if I come here to the 3D view, you can see right now these columns aren't actually supporting anything. Just assume that the architectural file is not here. They aren't actually supporting anything. So we need to go ahead and put beams in our project. Now, to put beams in the project, the first thing I need to do is that I need to come over to where I need to place them. Now, ideally, those beams are going to be on the first floor. They are going to be suspended, so they are going to be along this axis like this, around this region. So that's going to be the first floor. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and open up the first floor plan. Alright, good. So now that I've done that, I have an ideal area to model my beams. You can also see where the columns have been terminated in this particular region over here. This way you have an idea of exactly where you can place your beams to be supported. Now we have an issue here with the first floor plan not showing the walls as we've done before, and this is a good time for me to now talk about view templates. We've gone ahead and done some things over here in the ground floor plan, and I don't want to be doing it repetitively for every single plan that we go to. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to save this as a view template, this particular view as a view template. So what I do is that I go ahead and right click on an empty place in the view and then find the project browser. Then when I find it in the project browser here, I right click on it, and then you see an option here, create view templates from view. Now I'm going to save it as a name. So let's call this here, what could we call it? Let's call it our KU. So for Kenyatta University, let's call it design workshop. I want to make sure that we have a better nomenclature. Design workshop. So let's call it DW. I'm going to put a hyphen, and I'm going to call this structural layout plan. Okay. KUW structural layout plan. So I'm going to remove the space between the KU and the DW. Alright, and then I'm going to click OK. Once I do that, this will come up on your screen. It was on my other screen, so that's why I just dragged it here. Now I'm going to leave it, and you're going to see a list of all the view templates that are available for plans. You can see the one we just created. So what I do is that I just go ahead and then click OK. Now we've created the view templates, I need to come back here to the first floor plan and apply it to this view. So what I do in that case here is that I come over here to the properties without selecting anything, by the way. I scroll down to identity data where we have view templates. I click on none, which is currently the view template, so there isn't any view templates on it. Then I click and change it to the KU structural layout plan. Once I've done that, I click on apply, and now you can see here that we now have all those walls showing in the view. Pretty neat, right? Likewise as well, something to take note of is that when we've created a view template from this particular view, it won't be applied here. So what we can do is that we can scroll down here in this view as well. Under view templates, we can as well also apply the view to the original view, which was the ground floor plan we created it from. Now the good thing is that if I make any changes to this view template, it will also be affected over here. I will see examples of that later on. Now let's come back here to the first floor plan. We want to model our beams. To model the beams, there are various methods I use to adopt. I'm going to show you one by one. Now when modeling our beams, there are various things we should have to take into consideration. So for instance, we want to make sure that our beams aren't passing areas that are going to cause obstruction. We want to make sure that when we're passing the beams, we lay it across block walls as much as possible. And we also want to make sure that it does not span so long that the elements such as the columns will not be able to carry them, or they are so long that they are going to pose an issue during the design phase. So to go ahead and model the beams, I need to come over here to the Structures tab. And just like we did for columns, I'm going to come over here and click on the Structural Framing tool, and that is the Revit family for beam. So I click on this, and if you use the template that we started off with, you are going to notice here that we have this UB universal beam, which is a steel profile. In this case, we are working with reinforced concrete. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over here and change it to an M concrete rectangular beam. So we have two types over here. We have 300 and we have 300 by 600 and we have 400 by 800. I'm going to select this 300 by 600. Now, in the event that you do not have any of these profiles, so either concrete or steel, what you could do to load it is that you can come over here and click on Load Family, and then search for this folder directory. So we have here Program Data, Autodesk, Revit 2024, Libraries. I come over here to Libraries, and then I select my language, which is English. I'm going to pick my UK folder, and I'm going to search for the Structural Framing family, which should be this one over here. When I do that, I'm going to open up concrete, which is the material I'm working with, and you see different profiles. So we have concrete rectangular beam, we have pan joist. This is for smaller beam sections. I'm going to click on this concrete rectangular beam and then click on open. Now when we do that, if I come over here after it's loaded, you can see now we now have a new family, which is concrete rectangular beam, which is similar to the M concrete rectangular beam. Now they are basically the same thing, it's just that they fall under different families. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the original one, which was M concrete rectangular beam. I'm going to select this 300 by 600 mm. And before I model it, I want to go ahead and create a new type. So I come over here and click on Edit Type, and I come and duplicate it. Let's name this here 225, which should be the width of the beam, and I call this over here 450. So that's the size I want to use, 450. I click on OK. For the dimensions as well, I need to change it. Just naming it doesn't actually change the section of the beam. So I change it to 225, and I change here the overall depth of the beam to 450. Now to have a preview of what you've done, you see at the bottom of the screen here, Preview. If I click on it, you can see the beam size. Right now it hasn't changed. If I click on Apply, you will now see exactly the new parameters on the beam. Likewise as well, if I click here, it shows here this is the width. If I click inside here, sometimes it can be a little bit glitchy, but if I click inside there, to show me the dimension that it is constrained to. So I'm just going to go over here and click OK, and now we have the new beam type. Now to place the beam, we need to understand the placement options at the top over here. So the first one here is placement plane. We want to place it on the first floor, which is 1F. Then we have structural usage. We're going to leave this on automatic. 3D snapping allows us to place it on the highest level that it recognizes on the plan. In this case here, we're not going to use that. And then chain allows you to continue drawing beams as we go on. In this case here, I'm going to turn it off, and I'll show you an example where we can use it. Now I'm going to go ahead and place one beam by clicking on this point here, and drawing beams is like drawing a line. So you can see when we select the first point, I can go ahead and place it on another point like this. Once I've done that, you cannot see a beam has been placed, but it doesn't look like as if anything happened. When I'm done, I just click on Modify. And the reason why we can see it is that we have this overlay of this Revit link model over here for now. But if I come here to the 3D view, I will know that that beam is on this side here. If I orbit around, by holding down my shift key and my middle scroll button, and I move my mouse, you can see that we've placed a beam on this side, just like this. All right, good. So now when we come back from a break that we're going to take, short 1 minute break, I'm going to show you how to simplify it and view those elements that you are placing while having the architectural overlay on it. All right, so at this point here, let's take a 1 minute breather. If you have any questions, just let me know in the chat box, or if you faced any challenges during the presentation as well, also feel free to let me know so I could address them. Okay.